Hello everyone, Hoying Park here with another Power Rankings video. Last week, a lot of you suggested that I do statistics to back my Power Rankings claims. So, I decided to go with the NFL website statistics. I built an extensive database to determine what team has the best overall power ranking. I did this by doing a few things. First, I found the overall power ranking for the offense and the defense. Now, a high offensive power is good. It means you can score a lot, you make a lot of yards, you have a lot of receptions, etc. Now, to counter that, a low defensive score is good because the higher the defensive score, the higher the yards, touchdowns, and rushes and receptions the other team had. So having a low defensive power means that your team stopped a lot of plays. And to factor in wins, I took the amount of wins per team, multiplied it by 400. And then to get the overall power, I added those amount of wins to the offensive power and then took away the defensive power. For example, number 32 is the Jets. The offense is 2,240. The defense is 3,840. They have 0 wins. So 2240 minus 3845 plus 0, their overall is negative 1605. Next is the Jaguars. And so on. We have the Bengals at 30, Texans at 29, Giants at 28, Cowboys at 27. You're going to notice that a lot of teams are different from what they usually are, because statistically speaking, this is where they rank. And then here's the first shocker. The Falcons are at 26. Now, I thought that would be higher considering it's a really good team, but on the defensive side, they're just not performing. Offensively, they're there. They're a top offense, but the coach really needs to get this team together. I think it has a lot of potential for the future, and that's why I think they're a good team, just not this season. Next, we have the Broncos, and then the Eagles, the Washington football team with the correct logo this time. And notice how a lot of these teams now have different overalls. This is done on purpose. In order to make these rankings make sense, I had to move a couple of teams around. Otherwise, it would be a lot of outliers. For example, the Lions are a really high overall compared to the Panthers and the Patriots and so on. But they lost today, and I figured it felt more appropriate to move them to 21 and the Panthers to 20. And I did this a few times for the lower tier teams, mainly between 23 and 16. The top 15 I really left alone. I let the statistics do all the speaking. At 19, we have the highest move team. They're at 16, so I moved them back to 19. It's 1935 overall because they had Jimmy Garoppolo, who was performing really well. But now they don't have Jimmy Garoppolo, Raheem Mostert, so my penalty for this team is to move them down 3 spots. But statistically speaking, a team overall performed really well when they had all their players. We have the Patriots at 18, and I don't know if that's actually the correct overall. That might have been a mistake on my part. Let me just double check. Yeah, the Patriots' overall ranking is actually not correct. This is what you're seeing. The one of the other teams, I believe it's the Dolphins by mistake. So this overall is actually not correct. It should be more so 1,400, but it's okay. Now we have the Bears ranking at 17, and then the Vikings. They just beat the Bears. And now we have the Dolphins. So that was the first half of the teams. I know last week I ranked the Dolphins at 6 overall, but statistically speaking, based on the whole year, they rank at 15. Tua Tagovailoa performed really well the last 2 weeks. However, I think he's a little bit injured now, and I just don't think they're going to be at the same status that I once raised them. So now we have the Seahawks. They just won this week, but statistically speaking, they have the worst defense in the league, one of the best offensive, but they rank really low in comparison to the top 13 teams. Another team a lot of people are going to feel very disrespected by, the Raiders. They rank 13 statistically speaking. They're a very solid team this year, but they just need to do better on defense. And it was evident from today that they have the potential to become really good. They have to make plays where it matters most. Patrick Mahomes scored a touchdown in the last minute of the game with no effort whatsoever. It's like they let Patrick Mahomes score. So they have to learn how to close out games. For number 12, we have the Ravens. Talk about falling hard. The Ravens have one of the best defenses overall, but their offense has been lackluster this year. Also, they have 6 wins, so they just don't stack really well against the other top 11 teams. For number 11, we have the Browns. Talk about flipping your seasons on its head. So I remember when the Browns went back to back with the number one overall pick, and now they're almost in the top 10. So very solid this year, even without Odell Beckham Jr. I think Baker Mayfield just got to improve his accuracy, but a very good team overall. For number 10, we have the Titans. They're coming off a win today, a very good win against the Ravens at that. For number 9, we have the Cardinals, and I know people are going to say they just lost to the Seahawks, but they have the number one overall offense. Their defense has been pretty solid this year in comparison to other teams, and they also have 6 wins that just rank better than the Seahawks when you factor in the offense and the defensive scores. So the Cardinals, statistically speaking, are at number 9 overall. Similarly, the Bills are at number 8 overall. They have one of the best offenses in the league. I think they're a top 3 offense, and they've just been pretty solid overall. The Rams are ranking 7. A lot of people may not have them this high, but statistically speaking, they are one of the best teams in the league. And I'm going to keep bringing up statistically speaking because a lot of people are really mad that I wasn't using stats. I know they haven't played this week. They played tomorrow, Monday, against the Buccaneers. And to quickly summarize what would happen if they win, they actually would jump up to 4th place overall, assuming their defense doesn't hold them back. They'll be between the 4th and 5th place. If they don't win tomorrow, they'll be pretty solid 7th place ranking, even if they lose tomorrow. We have the Packers number 6. One of the best offenses in the league. I think they have the second best offense, but they fell apart today. The Colts did very well. For number 5, we have the Buccaneers. They play tomorrow, Monday Night Football, against the Rams. If the Buccaneers win, they will jump surefire number 3 overall. If they lose, they will either drop down to number 6 or stay at number 5. It depends on how their offense plays. It's really hard to assess teams on Monday Night Football, but I just hate waiting a whole day. I'd rather just have the video out as soon as possible. I know a lot of people get anxious when it comes to power rankings. I'm one of them, so I'd rather just rush it and push it out a whole day. But either they drop to 6 or they raise up to number 3, depending on if they win or lose. For number 4, we have the Saints. They lose Drew Brees to a couple weeks. Taysom Hill came out, performed really well. I don't know how long they'll be able to keep that up, but they've done it all season. And hopefully Drew Brees will be back for the playoffs, similar to how last year with Teddy Bridgewater filling in. Very strong team overall. For number 3, we have the Colts. Now, a lot of people were shocked at this. I know when I first saw it, I was a little shocked, but I think after watching today's game, it's pretty evident that they're a very solid team, a very strong team. They have the best defense overall, one of the best offenses, surprisingly. Their overall is pretty high in retrospect to other teams. Very solid team, especially with Philip Rivers. He's got a lot left in the tank, maybe another season in him, but it's definitely performed better than what I personally expected. So very strong team. They're definitely in it to they're in contention with that Super Bowl position as well. For number 2, we have the Chiefs. The Chiefs played really well today. A lot of penalties. I think the penalties really screwed them over today, but they still came out with the W. Overall, they've been a phenomenal team. They have a top 5 defense, a top 3, top 4 offense. A solid team. I still have them as my favorite for the NFL Super Bowl position to win, but they are sadly number 2. And last but not least, we have the Steelers. Their offense has actually been really low. And I'm sorry, with the Colts, they're also low offense. Just by looking at it on my spreadsheet, they're actually in the 18 offensive spot. Colts are 15 overall offense. So their offense hasn't been there, but their defense is number 2 overall, and they have 10 wins. And surprisingly, the Chiefs are really close in power levels to the Steelers, despite having 9 wins. And that's all for this week. Please let me know what you think. Like this video if you liked it. Comment, let me know your thoughts and opinions. Do you like this new format? I personally